Hi everyone, and welcome back to our Dark Souls Let's Play. If you remember last time, we woke up in an undead asylum with the undead curse, and there is a guy, and he dropped a corpse down with a key on it, and we were in a prison cell, and that key on that corpse let us out of a door, and we went, and we found our shield. And we found our mace, because we became a cleric, because that's who we are. We're Derby. Remember? Remember Derby? Derby is in a covenant with the Way of the White. That's the cleric covenant. And we're going to learn more about covenants as we go along. But Derby, our good white daughter, who has been tasked with the prophecy of the chosen undead. And since we fought our way out of the undead asylum to this place, where we were brought by a large bird. Remember that large bird? Yeah, that bird brought us here and dropped us off, and we were given a task to ring a bell of awakening and to, make our way from Firelink Shrine. But this guy told us...
Your face. You're practically hollow. But who knows? Going hollow could solve quite a bit.
This charming gentleman informed us that, that prophecy is actually kind of a little bit bullshit, because there's actually two bells. Yeah, one up in the Undead Burg, and then one down below. There's one up there. One up all the way up there, and then there's one down below. But this week, we're going to investigate where we are, because we arrived in this strange place called Firelink Shrine. And it's very kind of beautiful, and there's this misty fog that hangs around, and all these broken moss and leaf covered buildings just covered in ivy, and these mossy circular steps, kind of an amphitheater seating. And so this is an interesting place, and this is going to be kind of our home for a little bit, as much as there is any kind of home in Dark Souls. And obviously there's our fire, our bonfire. There's just a sword, a twisted metal sword, and some bones, and flame. And of course we've already met our friend, the crestfallen warrior. What do you think? He looks kind of like a Kevin to me. We could name him Kevin. Kevin the crestfallen warrior. I don't know if he has a name.
What? Restoring your humanity? Well, there are a few ways to go about it. Collect it bit by bit from corpses. Or you can butter up a cleric and get yourself summoned. And the quickest way, although I'd never do it, is to kill a healthy undead and pillage its humanity. Coveting thy neighbor is only human, after all.
So, that's right. He mentioned us as being quite hollow, and we are not looking so great. Let's see if we can get... We're playing with the camera. This is a technique you used to have to do if you wanted to get screenshots in games. Oh! Something just happened. I think... Oh, someone's ringing a bell. One of the interesting things about this game is that bell rings, because we're connected to the internet, that bell will ring whenever a player rings the bell of awakening. And we'll get there eventually. We're not there yet. But we're looking kind of rough. In fact, we're looking really rough if you really think about it. This is, we're not doing so good. But one of the things that I want you to pay attention to is see right above Derby's left breast, there is what that kind of stretching out growth-looking thing. I see it better. There we go. It's almost like tree roots, or I guess some people are going to think it's like kind of like, oh, it's like weird Cthulhu tentacles. No, it's much more like tree roots, and we don't really like mention, I don't think, ever where the dark sign appears, but it's interesting that there is this kind of particular growth pattern that comes out like that. We'll see patterns similar to that throughout the game. We're wearing our cleric robes. We've got our good cleric European handbag. And so when we first arrived, we found this guy over here. He's like kind of limply hanging forlornly over what appears to be some kind of well or some kind of hole structure. And someone here has died. There's a bloodstain. We can see what happened. Oh, look what's happening. No, alas. They didn't make it. But let's explore. So up here is a pathway. It'll take us to the Undead Burg, and we'll get there eventually for this massive aqueduct. But if you look from over here, look at that beautiful aqueduct. There are not enough aqueducts in games, and this is just, it's marvelous. I could spend so much time just marveling at this aqueduct structure, and it's so good. And the depth of field in Dark Souls actually really does kind of work for me. A lot of times it really does add to the effect. Here's another bloodstain. What happened to this person? Oh, they've got a spear. Oh no, they've got a halberd. And where are they going? Oh, imminent shortcut. They must have listened to that, but you know what? That's not the truth, is it? That is not a true message. We can't leave messages yet, can we? No, we don't have... What does it say about the dark sign? Actually, you know what? Let's look at our inventory. We haven't done that. Let's start there. The Estus Flask. This is what heals us, and we currently have 11 charges of it, and that changes depending on the bonfire in the area. But Estus Flask. The undead treasure, these dull green flasks, fill with Estus at Bonfire. Fills HP. The Estus flasks are linked to the Fire Keepers. The Dark Tales also make reference. An emerald flask from the Keeper's soul. She lives to protect the flame and dies to protect it further. So, the Dark Tales. This is great because I don't think I ever actually read the Estus Flask description fully in Dark Souls because I do not remember the Dark Tales. What is that? I don't know, but there's something called the Dark Tales, and it makes reference to the Emerald Flask, to the Estus Flask, and the Fire Keepers, and the Flame. So that's quite interesting. I don't think we ever find out more about the Dark Tales. That's just a thing, and we have to accept and kind of wonder what this is, what this meaning this holds in this place. The Black Separation Crystal. This black crystal, long a symbol of farewell, is granted to banished undead. The crystal sends phantoms back to their homes, or sends you back to yours. Beware of fickle use of this item if you intend to nurture relations. So that when you're doing multiplayer, this is just, you can use it to leave a world when you've been summoned, or when you've been summoned, or you can, if you've summoned some people, you can send them back home if you just decide you don't want them around, or you're like, no Chudfucker 69, I don't want you here. Sometimes you don't want that, I've definitely run into some people who've had names where I just look at them and I go, no, you're not here. And this is humanity. And okay, look, I understand that you think, a lot of people look at the humanity and they go, oh, look, it's like a spooky vagina. It's not a spooky vagina, shut up. It's literally not. It is the shape of a person. It's a spooky person. Jesus God. Humanity. Rare, tiny black sprite found on corpses. Used to gain 1 humanity and restore a large amount of HP. This black sprite is called humanity, but little is known about its nature. If the soul is the source of all life, then what distinguishes the humanity we hold within ourselves? One of the interesting things about Dark Souls is that you get this editorialization within item descriptions, which leads me to believe that there is, there's 2 answers here. One is the writers of the game are editorializing and just doing this thing. They're just like injecting a little bit of themselves and being like, what do you think? Here, we're just asking the question. But also the other answer is that this is, it could be ourselves. Are we the ones doing this? Or is there some kind of, third figure within the world who has given us some kind of unseen guidebook? Some kind of Dark Souls Herodotus who is writing these weird travel guides, and all of these items have been detailed by them. And if so, why do we have that? Where did we get that? Where is this editorialization of these items coming from? And it's one of those questions that I don't really want an answer, but I love to think about it, and the possibilities, because it is frequent. All of the items bear it for the most part, and it changes from game to game, and we'll see that as we go along. Once we get through Dark Souls 1 and we move on to the Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3, we'll see how these, how humanity changes from humanity. Actually, humanity just outright changes as we go along. But like even the Estus flask, that will change, and the Black Separation Crystal and things like that, they will change slightly, and we'll see how that manifests over time. Dark Sign. The dark sign signifies an accursed undead. Those branded with it are reborn after death, but will one day lose their mind and go hollow. Death triggers the dark sign, which returns its bearer to the last bonfire rested at, but at the cost of all humanity and souls. So this is the the emblem of this is like kind of the objective correlative of Dark Souls. The dark sign, that we are branded with it, and we died and we were reborn, and they found us and they threw us away into the Undead Asylum and locked the key, but we didn't go hollow yet. Hollowing is when you lose your mind. This kind of very clearly say that will one day lose their mind and go hollow. So death activates the dark sign, and that when we die in the game, we will return to the last bonfire we rested at, and we'll lose whatever liquid humanity we have and our souls, and that is the core. Live, die, repeat. That's Dark Souls. Okay, so let's see what else we have. We have some strange items here. We have our straight sword hilt. We talked about this last time. The hilt of the lost sword was found discarded in the Undead Asylum. We were just kind of sitting around playing with this, I guess, as we were bored in our cell until only slightly better than one's hands and not recommended for extensive use, but we did find a replacement quickly. We found our mace. An iron hammer with a protrusive pommel. Standard weapon for clerics. This simple bladeless strike weapon is effective against most foes and can break the guard of a shield. However, one miss leaves one wide open. So this introduces us to a strike, to a different damage type. So this is a straight sword hilt is a regular / thrust, and then the mace is a strike weapon, and standard weapon for clerics. We can trace this back to at least to Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know if there is a further progenitor for the cleric and maces. There really isn't. I don't know if there's any more further, background to the cleric being a kind of, warrior priest. But at least we can trace it back to Dungeons and Dragons, where the classic cleric in Dungeons and Dragons is not allowed to use bladed weapons. So they get the mace, and then they get like medium to heavy armor, and clerics are badasses. Cleric for life. But one thing that's nice is the strike damage type. It is effective against things like, and this again goes back to Dungeons and Dragons and things like that, where maces work better, strike weapons, things that crush, work better on skeletons and also heavily armored characters. So knights take more damage from strike rather than a bladed weapon, which we might do thrust or slicing damage. So this one can break the guards of shield, which means strike damage does much more heavy damage to someone blocking with a shield than like a sword does. There are some exceptions to that, but again, because we have to swing this big, heavy club thing, it is a much more it's not as quickly recovered from if we don't connect. This is the Canvas Talisman. I need to equip this. Canvas Talisman. A medium for casting Miracles of the Gods. Canvas Talisman is for clerics on pilgrimage. Equip Talisman to cast miracles. Attune miracles from a scroll at a bonfire. Most miracles have limited number of uses. So like I said, spells in Dark Souls, and spells in Dark Souls 1 and 2, at least, follow the kind of Vancian, Dungeons and Dragons, early Final Fantasy system of, it's a, I think wizardry. Yeah, wizardry uses it too, and a lot of the wizardry likes also use it. It follows the Vancian system, which is you kind of memorize your spells, and you get a number of uses for each memorization of spell. And once you are out of spells, once you kind of use your last memorized spell, you have to go and rest again before you get your uses back. There's not, a mana bar. There's no mana gauge that you can refill by drinking a mana potion. Though Demon Souls and Dark Souls 3 change that. And this is the East-West Shield. We picked this up in the Undead Burg. Wooden shield decorated with the ancient symbol of a double-headed eagle painted yellow. Wood shields are lighter than metal shields, but have lower physical damage reduction and reduced shield stability. Obviously, physical damage reduction, that's how much we can, how much damage we can block. And stability is basically how much stamina the shield is going to use up. So every time we take a hit while blocking, it damages our stamina. Because, we're having to sit there and, hold our shield up, and, it requires endurance. And so the shield will block as much as we can have endurance to hold the shield up and put our kind of, brace behind it. Stability is a measure of how much that kind of, is easier to do. This is the holy robe. Robe donned by men of the cloth, though we are a woman of the cloth. Though plain to the eye, its hardy fabric repels rain and keeps the body warm. Those dissatisfied with church teachings must test their faith by going on a spiritual journey. Such is the ritual self-purification of the way of the white. So if we're out in the world wearing this particular robe. And so I like to know the robe is plain. It is a robe of the clergy. As a robe of spiritual journey, of self-purification. It's basic. However, it's a robe of pilgrimage, so it is both insulated and water repellent. So we kind of get that from, this description. But we also get the description that those dissatisfied with church teachings must test their faith by going on a spiritual journey. So we are going on. We can assume that we were on a journey at some point before we went hollowed. Maybe did we die along the road, and that's when our curse was, kind of activated, and then we ended up in the Undead Burg or the Undead Asylum, and now we're on a new kind of spiritual journey. Who's to say? Traveling glove. Oh. Thick, sturdy gloves made for travelers on extended journeys. So we were traveling. We were out in the world. Holy trousers. Trousers done by men of the cloth. Though plain to the eye, the hardy fabric repels rain and keeps the body warm. And so these are just kind of same bit of information about them as the robe. These are just our holy trousers. And then we have the old witch's ring. Engraved minutely with indecipherable script, but seemingly useless. Old ring from an old witch. Some people in the comments have said, that we all assumed that it was from the Witch of Izalith, which it could be. She is an old witch. Who'd have an old ring? I wonder, how did we end up with this? We don't have any other rings. We don't have any other. And we've got our mace, and we also need to equip our. No, not there. We want to equip it here, so we can change out. So that way we can, you can have multiple things. So here now we've got our talisman in our hand, and we can cast our miracle with it. So see. There. Oh, it cast the miracle of heal. And you'll see our number heal. It was 5 and now it's 4. And then if we come back here, we rest. And here we can attune magic. So we have 5 spells and we've got heal. And heal is our only spell, but we have another slot we could put one more spell there if we had one. So we can level up at bonfires, we can attune our magic, which is memorizing spells. We can check our covenant. We already belong to the way of the white. But as we get more covenants, we can change them from the bonfire. We can kindle when we're hollow, so we can't kindle it. And we could also reverse hollowing, but we have no humanity with which to do that. We have some humanity. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to use one humanity to make ourselves human, and then we're going to use one other humanity. I think that's how that works. Pretty sure, if I remember correctly. There we go. So now we have, up in the bar in the corner, it says we have 2 humanity. And we're going to reverse our hollowing so that we can kindle. We're going to offer our humanity to the bonfire. And then watch what happens. Oh, there's our lovely, beautiful white daughter's face again. And now we're going to kindle. Oh, we cannot kindle with that secret rite. Ah, yes. So this bonfire is as kindled as it can get for now. But that's okay. And so now we have that one humanity up at the top, and if something would happen to us, we would lose it. So we better make sure nothing happens to us. But oh, look at this. I like this little archway. And this is such a wonderful thing to me. I wanted to show you. We kind of get up here and then look down at it. Look at the way, it's not straight lines. It's these beautiful curves that they've so much kind of flowing architecture here. I really love these terrace steps that just flow like this. And it just kind of repeats throughout and kind of culminates in this little amphitheater seating right there. And you have to wonder what this place must have looked like. You reconstruct it in your mind as you play. And it's these archways and these old craggy dead trees. But it's interesting because these trees are like, they look very dead, but this is clearly such a lush place. It's so full of growth. All these weeds and these vines. And here's someone's bonfire. What happened to them? Let's see. Oh. No, don't trust it. No. Oh, friend. Everyone believing about the imminent shortcut. And we know better. We've seen them. And you would think people would learn. Oh. What's this? Gesture. Okay. I don't know what we're supposed to be gesturing at there. I don't think there's anything. Nothing can be gained by gesturing over there. And this little weird. Oh. This little. It was a hallway at some point. And now it's exposed. See, there's all these archways. And there probably was a roof at some time. Or maybe there wasn't. Maybe it was just open. It's an open little hallway that came to this little part of the building. And who knows? Maybe that rock wasn't always there, but maybe it was. And they just built an interesting little room. And this corpse, had some fire bombs on him. So he backed himself into a corner and died. I guess he couldn't throw his fire bombs fast enough. And so I'm just gonna keep looking around here. And there's something's making those noises. It must be that large bird croaking. And who is this? Look at this squat man. What did they say? There's a message. Wretch ahead. Ah, well this is...
Hello there. I believe we are not acquainted. I am Petrus of Thorolund. Have you business with us?
Petrus of
I prefer
Thorolund.
to keep a distance, if possible.
Petrus of Thorolund sounds like a prick, doesn't he? Look at that face. He's kind of like... Looks kind of like a tubby Chris Maloney with a weird bowl haircut.
Hello there.
Let's talk to him again.
I realize that I have requested that we retain our distance.
Uh-huh.
But I also want you to know that it is not meant in ill will. Here, take this.
Oh, he's giving us a gift.
No, go ahead. It's for you.
Oh, he gave us a copper coin.
Oh my. You again. Oh, I know. How about this? I have to await my companions here anyway. So what if I were to teach you some miracles? Would that please you?
Yeah, that could be nice.
Very well. Then first, a covenant with the gods.
Buddy, we've already got a covenant with gods.
Now let me share my miracles. Only their ultimate effectiveness will be determined by your efforts and your faith.
So yes, our miracle, the power of our miracles is determined by our faith stat, which we will eventually start building up. We can learn a gesture. It comes up sometimes. Characters will teach you gestures. I'm not sure why they do that, but they do that. We're already in the covenant with him, but we can see what he has to sell. Some of these are quite expensive. And he has talismans. He has a talisman and a Thorolund talisman. What does it say? Standard talisman issued to common believers. Equip a talisman to cast miracles, attune miracles, blah blah. Okay. Miracle for casting miracles to gods. This talisman is only granted to high-ranking Thorolund clerics. Has high miracle adjustment, which thanks to divine protection is not dependent upon faith. So this is a talisman that you don't actually have to have high faith to use. It will apparently augment your miracle abilities. Yeah, so see the magic adjust is 165, but it's scaling. See that little star is under param bonus. Weapons have scaling for the most part. Most weapons have scaling. And those are each correspond to a stat. And depending on the scaling rank and your abilities and that your numerical value of that stat, you'll do more damage. So this only has a C scaling, but it has a pretty high magic adjust. So it will do more damage even though doesn't really care about your faith, which says a lot about the high-ranking Thorolund clerics. You would think they should have, as we go along, we will look for talismans that have high, that are dependent upon faith, because we'll be leveling up our faith. But this has, this is a talisman for the high-ranking Thorolund clerics who apparently they need something that doesn't necessarily rely on their faith. So it tells you something about their relationship with God and their religion. He's got a lot of miracles for sale, but we don't have any souls to buy them with. Should we see? Let's take a look at what miracles he has for sale. So he has heal. Elementary miracle cast by clerics. Restores HP. To cast a miracle, the caster learns a tale of the gods and says a prayer to be blessed by its revelations. Heal is the shortest of such miraculous tales. So that's interesting. What we're actually learning and what we're actually doing when we are casting a miracle is we are saying a prayer based upon kind of a biblical story where we are kind of, each one of these is sort of just a bit of scripture that we are learning. We read the scripture and then we say a prayer to be blessed by its revelations. And this is apparently a very short miracle tale. And that's the thing, all clerical spells are called miracles. So we have Great Heal Excerpt. Great Miracle cast by advanced clerics restores high HP. Great Heal Excerpt borrows from only several verses of Great Heal. As a result, it can only be cast a stark few times. So this takes up one slot and it only gives us one use because it only has, it's the cliff notes. It's the truncated, abridged version of the Great Heal Miracle. Homeward is a great miracle cast by advanced clerics. Return to last bonfire rested at. This one is useful. It's gotten me out of a couple of jams in the past. Would normally link to one's homeland, only the curse of the undead has distorted its power, redirecting casters to a bonfire. Or, perhaps for undead, this serves as home? So again, we get that editorialization here. We get this, it's asking the question of, kind of injecting this concept of, so homeward normally would return you to wherever your homeland is. And is it that the curse of the undead has distorted the miracle itself because it redirects us to the last bonfire? Or is it that as the undead, the bonfire is our home now, and we are linked to that flyer? just intrinsically now. And it has replaced our home. You know, whatever home we knew, now only the bonfire is home. Force, common miracle amongst cleric knights, creates shockwave. This quickly acting miracle inflicts no damage, but propels foes back and defends against arrows. Cleric knights use this miracle when charging into enemy mobs. I don't think I've ever used this, but repels foes back and defends against arrows. Defending against arrows, what? Like, you just, like, someone casting an arrow at you and you boom, force? Arrows go really fast in this game. Huh. Interesting. Maybe we'll try it if we ever get 4,000 souls to just spend. Seek guidance. Miracle of clerics on an undead mission. Display more guidance from other worlds. Guidance facilitates communication between undead, but their value varies greatly. A balance of faith and wisdom is required. So this is now kind of because it's commenting on the messaging system itself and the caliber of player and message that players leave behind. For a really good piece, Cameron Kunzelman, I'll drop it in the show notes, did a wonderful piece about the quality of assistance in Dark Souls and, the way in which one can either strive to be a valuable undead, both in communication and assistance, and also the ways in which one can not be so valuable. It's a really good piece, and you should absolutely check the description because I'll put the link in there. And it's such a tremendous read. Cameron has spent a lot of time thinking about these things, and has done a good job with that. So those are the miracles that he has to sell us. We don't have nearly enough souls to buy any of them. And I mean, really, would we want to buy anything from this jerk anyway? He looks like a jerk. But let's see what he has to say.
My companions are Milady and her young knights. She is young, but burdened by an undead mission. We are her defenses, to keep her from harm.
So he has a Milady. So we already know what kind of jerk he is. Now there's some companions. They're not here right now. He's waiting for them.
An undead mission? Regrettably, I cannot share that with you. But you are my pupil. Perhaps if you show your faith.
He wants us to show our faith by paying him. We don't have 500 souls to give him, so we can say no.
I'm afraid that may be difficult, for our missions are sacred.
So we want to find out about the undead missions, so maybe we need to go and get some souls.
Depend upon your faith.
Where can we get some souls? Well, let's see. I'm sure there's got to be some place we can get some souls. You know where? I know a place. It's risky, but I know a place. And so look at the, I love this pool. Liar ahead. Well, we'll find out who. It doesn't really seem like there's anyone ahead here. There's this statue of this woman with a child, sitting on some kind of tree, some kind of large tree branch. Maybe a bundle of tree branches? No, it looks like an individual branch. Who could that be? We don't know. But this is some kind of shrine to her. And then over here we have more just dilapidated architecture. This is where a number of fellow souls died. And we can see down there, we can see more of this buttressing that holds up this structure. This large castle structure. And it's got these buttresses that go into these walls and those walls. Look at all the ways those walls crisscross and form these barriers for this like neighborhood. And they're kind of all walled off in these tremendous walls. Look how big those walls are. And then out there's almost kind of a vast gray nothingness of clouds. But then the sky is very beautiful. And look at these lush trees with the sunlight just filtering through. And then there's that bird. It's so perfectly framed right there. He's just doing his thing. And then there's Derby. There's her good daughter. But so we have to go down here, actually. There's some things. There's a graveyard. And there's a lot of things, but there's also a lot of danger in the graveyard, as is evidenced by this chap. Oh, alas. Almost had it. And it appears there's some more bloodstains down there. So we're gonna try some things. And it might not work out for old Derby, but we'll see. Oh, see? Oh, look at those skeletons. But you remember, friends, what I said about we've got... Oh. Oh. Come on, Derpy. Gotta get away. Where are we running to? We're running up here. And we got some souls. We're gonna drink some of that Estus flask. And then we're gonna wait. 'Cause they're coming. Or are they coming? Where? Oh, look at him come. Come on. Look at that. Look at Derby. Brutally taking down those skeletons. Look at them. And we got their souls. So we didn't get a whole lot of souls for that. But we drink that Estus flask. And let's see what we got. We did get an item. The soul. Oh, we got some couple souls. And we got this coin. The copper coin of Old Man McCloyf. Coin made of copper. Its face shows Old Man McCloyf, god of medicine and drink. Even coins of great value in the world of men have little value in Lordran, where the accepted currency is souls. Those who dream of returning to the outside world are fond of carrying these around. So, people don't really want... There is a world outside of Lordran. And outside of Lordran, people use coins. They use coinage to buy things, sell things, engage in commerce. But in Lordran, if you want to engage in commerce, you have to use souls, which seems like a strange way to go about things, because the only way we've been getting souls is to take them from the dead or to kill things. Not a great economic system, Lord Gwyn. But also we learned that there's a god. This is the god, Old Man McCloyf, god of medicine and drink. Which is a great combination of auspices for this god is, medicine and drink. It makes sense to me. And he's an old man, Old Man McCloyf. What a wonderful, wonderful little detail. But then we got Soul of a Lost Undead. Soul of a Lost Undead who has long ago gone hollow. Used to acquire souls. Souls are the source of all life. And whether undead or even hollow, one continues to seek them. And this is the large soul of a lost undead. So he had this one is a smaller soul. It's just a soul. This one is a big soul, a big juicy soul. So if we use these, we can use them, and we'll see what happens. So that gives us 200 souls. So that gives us more than enough souls to go back and talk to that strange asshole. Where did he go? Well, he's around here somewhere. Those skeletons scary. I love the skeletons in this game. And they're not like level 1 skeletons the way a lot of skeletons are, you know. We think of skeletons in a lot of games and they're just like, oh, skeletons, that's kind of the default enemy. Those ones are pretty tough, weren't they?
Oh, hello. I will teach you miracles. A promise is a promise, after all.
So, we want to talk to him.
I'm afraid that may be difficult.
Oh.
I'm afraid that may...
Well, he won't tell us anymore, now will he?
Come again?
What a jerk. We were going to give him souls, too. We were willing to do that. Well, let's go what's up here. This long stairwell takes us. This is a dark room back here. It's spooky, but we can see with... Dark Souls characters have kind of this inner light about them that... there's a piece of pottery on the ground, so we can probably jump down there, you think? But let's go up here first and see what's up here in the corner. Someone has either completely... they've died here. And they've left their soul. And this is like a rooftop. And see, look at that, there used to be a tower. Tall tower structure. This kind of, look at this, the grass and moss are growing, and the whole ass plants are growing off the top of this roof. Tremendous. Oh, someone left a note up there. I wonder how they did that. They must have jumped. Must have been a good jumper. But so what could possibly be back here? I see, I could tell there's a little thing, there's a little bit of pottery on the ground, so we could see where we were. But then there's this little tunnel. If we go through here, that looks like, oh, look at that, there's chests back here. And there's that little window in the wall that we went through, and there's a chest over there. Look at all these chests. Look at all these chests. Let's open them. What bounty have we found here? A cracked red eye orb. 4 of them. What could that be? And then a morning star and a talisman. And then what's in here? A homeward bone. And then if we go over here, what's... Oh no. It's a skeleton running off too. Lloyd's talisman. That skeleton just charged off. I wonder if they're on their way to come find us. I wonder if they'll be able to. We should stay here for a moment and just kind of wait and see where that skeleton is going. Will he come up here? What do you think? I suppose he could find his way up here. He was certainly running off with great purpose. I wonder, where could he be? Did he go back? No, he's not back. So he's still up there somewhere, running around like a crazy person. A crazy person made of bones. Alas, I didn't. The skeletons here are much more deadly than the skeletons in Dragon's Dogma. You can imagine, dude. Lady Omelette is a tremendous combatant, but she would definitely be disturbed by the human bones that walk on their own. Well, I don't know where that skeleton is. It seemed like he was running desperately to go get someone. Presumably us. But, he's not here, and he hasn't come back, so we're just gonna... Now we have to do something dangerous. Because you remember, this is not... It's not a great cemetery. Firelink Shrine Cemetery is quite deadly. And so we're gonna... Oh, maybe he's just over there. Is that him? I think that's him. Oh, no, he's coming up for us. Don't fucking mess with us. That's right. We took him down, didn't we? Hooray for Derby. Hooray for Derby. She's killed 3 skeletons already. Look at that. Isn't that tremendous? That's the power of the mace. Look at this skull. That's right. I see you, skull. Derby says, screw that skull. We'll play soccer with your skull. That's what's going on there. Well, we are going to have to investigate here. Because there are some goodies down there, and we want them. But we're not going to do that right now. Right now we're going to just say, look, there is this tremendous... I love this cemetery. It's one of the best cemeteries in a video game. It's just so... Just the haphazardness of it, and the way things kind of are clustered together, and the way they form paths through it, you'll see are really interesting. And then it's just like there's these gnarled trees, but then there's also these. Look at these trees. These are very, I hate the usage of it, but these are extremely just kind of Lovecraftian cosmic horror trees. Look at that. And if you'll remember our chest with the tree branches and the roots and the kind of weird scarring on Derby's chest from the curse, presumably. And so now we're up here. We're up here again. We're on this, and we can say hello to the bird. Look at that bird. That big, beautiful, tremendous bird. Such a grand scale to that bird. Oh. I need to change the jump button because I think the jump button is on circle and it's not actually helpful. The jumping in this game is always kind of jumping in Dark Souls. Dark Souls is not a puzzle. Is not a platformer, even when it makes its platform. So we can see these friends who are all. These are from kind of impressions from other dimensions, really. Just like these ghosts. But when they come to the bonfire, you can see they take on a bit more depth to them. We can see their faces and we can see the color to them.
What? You want to hear more? Oh, that's all we need. Another inquisitive soul. Well, listen carefully then. One of the bells is up above in the Undead church, but the lift is broken. You'll have to climb the stairs up the ruins and access the Undead Burg through the waterway. The other bell is back down below the Undead Burg, within the plague-infested Blight Town. But I'd die again before I step foot in that cesspool.
So, he's just giving us little bits and pieces of information, reminding us of just how awful things can be. We have to go, we have to go to find these 2 bells. One's in Blighttown and one's in the Undead Burg. First, we're going to look just a little bit more around. See what's It's kind of, I love the fog in this game. It's so good. This little place is just the way it clings about. What's this over here? Aha. There's a person in this cave. Need humanity. No response. She cannot speak. But she can reinforce our Estus flask. And we have the talk option even though she cannot speak. Firekeeper soul required to reinforce Estus flask. Well then, we need a Firekeeper soul to make our Estus flask better. And then there's, over here, there's a stairwell leading down. And it's look how, we're so high up. Look at that ravine. And that waterway up there. Look how colossal the structures are in this. There's such a grand sense of scale in this game. It's just unbelievable. It's such a well thought out, structured game in terms of just the architecture and the environment. There's this winding pathway over here. What's back in here? It gets dark. This is our inner glow again. And then a vase we can break. And then, what's this? Be wary of down. Contraption does not move. Try fall. Contraption does not move. And so there's a contraption here, and it's kind of an intricate design plate in the middle. We're going down. There's Derby. Those plump cheeks. Derby has lovely little jovial cheeks. And so we've come down here, and we're at the base now of Firelink Shrine. And so this, same architecture is going on here. Oh, there's a thing. And there's this is all kind of part of this big connected tower that leads up to Firelink Shrine. See, it's all broken and worn with age, but no, remember, these are the kind of hollow men that we found in the Undead Asylum, just clutching their faces in just agony, it would seem. Or despair, who's to say? But we've got his souls now. It always feels a bit awful, because you can, and it is useful to, come down here, and this one just seems exhausted. He's got a sword, a bit of a broken sword, but he's got one. He's just kind of splayed out, seated on the ground. But it always feels wrong killing them. And there's a door, it's locked. If we had the master key, we could open this door, we could go back through there, and that would take us eventually the back way into Blighttown. You can move very quickly through the game with the master key. But I wanted imminent charm, or there's this guy over here. Try kicking. That's not nice. Look at him, he's just kind of posed. His eyes are glowing. That's where his souls are. So then there's the stairwell. But look out here. There's this, there's whole kind of a whole structure, whole building. And there's all this water. This flooded city. And there's kind of this walkway over across the flooded city. And we'll be going there eventually. We'll learn all about the flooded city and why it's flooded and what happened to the people who live there. There's a string.
This is unusual. You haven't lost your head. And more importantly, you're free. How on earth? Well, I shouldn't pry. I'm Rickert of Vinheim. I was once an established smith, though. Look at me now. Can you believe it?
So this is Rickert of Vinheim, and he's locked away. And so this. It is very easy when people are flooded, and all the just the mist and it's that one light illuminating all of us. We're inside something. This is a city that's inside of a giant cave. Look at that. Some weird structures, all deep down below the earth, below Firelink Shrine. And down there's this cell. And inside the cell is Rickert of Vinheim. What's he doing there? What's he got in his hands? Or is it just his hands? Can't tell.
What is it? Have you? Oh no. Don't worry. I've no intention of escape. It's safe here. Can't bear the thought of going hollow out there. Although, I must admit, I've not much to occupy myself. How about this? I could forge your weapons, albeit with rather minimal tools. I'll show you what made me the best in Vinheim.
So we've got a name of another place now, Vinheim. And Vinheim, he was a smith. And so he can modify our equipment. He can reinforce. If we were to bring him souls and a titanite shard, he could, improve our weaponry. And he can reinforce our armor as well. We can make our armor better, and he can repair our equipment because our equipment does get worn. See, we've already lost a bit of durability. And he'll charge us 10 souls. So let's have him repair our mace, because we can. And he sells things. What does he say? Oh, he sells choose spells. These are sorcery spells. Heavy soul arrow and soul arrow. And he sells a sorcerer's catalyst. So if we wanted to, we could buy this, and we could buy a spell and cast magical spells. Sorcery spells, but we'd have to memorize them, and we'd have to have the intelligence to use them. See, these require 10 and 12 intelligence, and I don't actually know. Soul sorcery, emphasizing power, fires heavy soul arrow. A more difficult but also slower sorcery, difficult to use due to a long cooldown and limitation on the number of castings. Elementary sorcery, fire soul arrow. Soul arrows inflict magic damage, making them effective against iron armor, tough scales, and other physically resilient materials.
Well, there's nothing to talk about. We're both cursed, undead. But what's there really to moan about?
He's just, he's really pragmatic about it all.
What is it? There's nothing to talk about. We're both cursed, undead.
So he's just, taking it in stride, and he's locked himself away in this little, room, in this very bleak...
Goodbye then.
Bye,
Keep your
Rickert.
head on up. You really helped break the monotony.
Oh, yeah, we'll come back and see you again, friend. We'll get a titanite shard and come say hello. So there's all these guys. This one is kind of a weird sort of flagellation. And they're not hostile unless you kind of attack them. This one does not seem to be doing quite so well. He seems to be having kind of a bit of yeah, he's not doing quite all right. And I'd say we could kill him and get him reprieve, but it wouldn't be very long. He would just come back because he's hollow, and that's what happens. And this one's just staring at a wall. He's just staring at this wall. And this one over here is again clutching his face over in the corner, just away from other things. And that one is again, okay, I'm gonna break your, oh, I need to drink that. I'm gonna break this. Anything there? See, it didn't even phase him. He's just locked away in this kind of misery. Being hollow is bad. It's not a good time. And that was a sword we got, an S-Talk. My controller was being weird for a minute there. What did we get? Oh, that's right, we got these cracked eye orbs. Online play item, invade another world. Hollows cannot use them. You can only invade when you've spent humanity. Defeat the master of the world you have invaded to acquire humanity. The cracked eye orb allows players to temporarily imitate the ability. This ability normally limited to the dark race of Koth. The dark race of Koth. We will learn about them, but they have an ability to move through to other worlds to slay masters of them. We also got, we got firebombs, that's right. Let's clarify. A bisque urn filled with black powder explodes, inflicting fire damage. Relatively powerful ranged weapon, especially in situations calling for fire damage. A very precious item at low levels. Many warriors use these to augment their strategic repertoire. It's interesting when the game acknowledges that it is a game. It kind of breaks form at times to do that. Unless maybe they're speaking about kind of social levels, who knows? Levels of ability. It could be argued that maybe they're not breaking form here, but it feels like they are. And I think it's interesting when they do that. As with, like, you know, the online play item kind of thing. Because this one doesn't really do that as much. But this one, online play item, invade another world, hollows cannot use. Allows players. But this one is just, it sends phantoms back to your homes or sends you back to yours. It doesn't acknowledge the gameness as so much. And then here is Lloyd's Talisman. It's a talisman utilized by All-Father Lloyd's cleric knights to hunt down the undead. So All-Father Lloyd has an army, a holy army, just to hunt down the undead. Well, that's fucked up. Asshole. But he's got these talismans, and it blocks Estus recovery within a limited area. So this, it cancels out the use of Estus flasks. In the outside world, the undead are cursed creatures, and Lloyd's cleric knights are widely praised for their undead hunts. This blessed talisman blocks undead recovery, allowing the knight to fight with impunity. So basically, if you can't drink your Estus flask, you can't heal yourself in the middle of a fight, and then you die much more easily. You'll notice when Derby was fighting the skeletons, Derby was sipping that Sunny D quite heartily. Homeward Bone. Bone fragment reduced to white ash. Return to last bonfire used for resting. Bonfires are fueled by bones of the undead. In rare cases, the strong urge of their previous owners to seek bonfires enchants their bones with a homeward instinct. So again, like the what was it? Not the black separation crystal. The homeward miracle that we saw. There is this sense that the bonfires have become homes for the undead, much more so than their own homes. We have a dungeon cell key. A mysterious knight, without saying a word, shoved a corpse down into the cell, and on its person was this key. Who was this knight, and what was his purpose? There may be no answers, but one must still forge ahead. So that's when we first met Henri of Astora. He threw that corpse down with this key. The Undead Asylum key, F2, East key. Key to the iron bars on the east side of the second floor of the North Undead Asylum. The Undead Asylum is a giant undead prison segmented by countless iron bars. Even if an undead were to escape from a cell, passage to the outside world would not be gained easily. And it's true. You'll remember we were just kind of on this, kind of colossal high, plateau where there was nothing around us but more but like of steep mountains and like a precipitous fall, just like a chasm and then mountains. And we only got out because we fought a giant demon and then a bird picked us up, quite against our will, to be honest. And then there's Pilgrim's Key. Key to the inner door of the Undead Asylum main hall. Big key belonging to a chosen undead pilgrim. But this chosen undead knows not what this pilgrimage has in store. So that's kind of confounding. Belonging to a chosen undead pilgrim. And it's just a lowercase it's a lowercase chosen undead pilgrim first, and then chosen undead knows not what the pilgrim has in store. Are we got this key from combating that big demon. And now it's our key, and we don't know what this pilgrimage has in store for us, but we are assuming we're the chosen undead, right? That's what we were told. And so then we just picked up this sword, the S-Talk. Weapon type, thrusting sword. Attack type, regular thrust. The largest of the thrusting swords can pierce an armored knight in one thrust. The blade is also sharp, allowing slicing as well. I wonder if we can equip it. We could try it and see. A Morning Star. Its weapon type is hammer, just like our mace. Hammer with a sharp spike on its pommel. One of the more barbaric cleric weapons. Uniquely, this hammer inflicts thrust damage, which causes bleeding. So that's interesting. This is a hammer that does strike, but this one does thrust because it's covered in spikes. It causes the status effect bleed, and if we do enough damage to people in rapid succession, they will bleed out. And then we got a talisman. This is a standard talisman issued to common believers. Then we have our canvas talisman. It's for clerics on a pilgrimage, because we were originally on a pilgrimage and now we're on a new kind of pilgrimage. Let's see if we can. Maybe we can use that S-Talk. Oh, you were unable to wield this weapon effectively with present stats. So we don't have enough strength. This is a big pointy sword. We would stab with it. Kind of fence. But then we can do like a big sweep. I don't know what stats it requires. But you can see we don't do as much damage with it. It says no, is it bad? It's heavy and it doesn't do as much damage for us because we don't have 12 dexterity is what we need for this. This is a quality weapon. It kind of balanced between strength and dexterity. When my sorcerer character that I ran through this with, like, most recently, that was my first weapon I picked up was the S-Stock. And I kind of was just like, yeah, she's a fencing sorceress. It's a good weapon. If you can use it and you build for it early, it's quite a good time. There's what's down here. Look at that. And there's this long walkway with these spooky. There's a man in a jar. Look at these spooky torches. They're glowing blue. What kind of flame glows blue, and for what reason and what purpose? And then there's this guy. He's just dead. That's not even a person anymore. That's just a corpse. And he's got some transient curse. What could that be, friends? Let's come back in here and read more item descriptions. Transient curse. The limb of the victim of a curse. So this is a hand. We picked up a hand. Temporary curse allows engagement with ghosts. The only way to fight back against ghosts who are cursed beings is to become cursed oneself. I love this concept. The safest method, however dreadful, is to cut off an arm of the dead. Just fucking yeah. Like, everything about this is wonderful. I mean, yes, it's horrific, but it's and ghastly, but... So ghosts can't be engaged with if you are not, because they are cursed. And sad, it is their being cursed that makes them kind of transient in this world and ephemeral. And so, in order to engage with them, you have to become cursed yourself. And what better way than to become the safest method? Because it's transient, it goes away. This curse is not permanent. You don't want to permanently curse yourself, because then that's not, you become basically just like a ghost. The safest method, and it's only safe because it is transient. That's interesting. It's the safest kind of curse is the curse that just goes away on its own after a little bit. But however dreadful, to cut off an arm of the undead. So we have an arm now. So I mentioned that we might sequence break just a bit up front, and we're going to do that, and we're going to do something that is dangerous and silly, but you'll get to see a little bit of part of the Get world, and we're going to lose our humanity, most likely. But maybe not. Maybe we'll make it. We'll see. We'll try our damnedest to make it. And we are going to just initially set up ourselves for success. And, alright. Okay, so there's Derby. Derby's in a kind of a ratty underwear, but, whatever. And so we're going to do a thing. And you'll see what we're doing. We're going to go over this weird walkway that's interesting because it seems to be perfectly structured for the way in which... You see, there's a ghost with these long, spooky arms. We don't like long, spooky armed ghosts. Oh, we made it. It's easy to get killed by those last two ghosts. And now we're back at Firelink Shrine and we're like, hey, we're Derby. We're half naked. I'm glad our white daughter is so confident in her body that she'll be, just happy to teleport around naked in front of a strange man. Now she's armed. She knows it. We're going to put our clothes back on. We're going to put our ring back on, even though it's not really a ring we need. We're going to get rid of that because we don't need it anymore. And so what did we pick up? What was the purpose of that, friends? Well, I'll show you what the purpose of that was. It was to get a Firekeeper soul. A Firekeeper soul of a long-lost Firekeeper. Each Firekeeper is a corporeal manifestation of her bonfire, and a draw for the humanity which is offered to her. Her soul is gnawed by infinite humanity, and can boost the power of precious Estus flasks. It can be used to gain humanity and restore HP at the cost of losing the Firekeeper soul to reinforce the Estus flasks. So we're getting a bit of what's going on with the Firekeeper. The Firekeeper is a corporeal manifestation of her bonfire. So, literally the embodiment of the flame. And a draw for the humanity which is offered her. So, people offer humanity to the Firekeeper. So she's tied to the bonfire, and when we are kindling the bonfire, in a way, we are kindling her. We are giving that humanity up to her. And her soul is gnawed by infinite humanity. What does that, God, like, what does that even mean? What does it mean to be gnawed by infinite humanity? How much humanity has been offered up to this poor woman in this cage below the bonfire? And I think, I don't know for certain, but I imagine she is directly below that bonfire. Or at least close enough. She is caged down here and she has no tongue. But if we talk to her, well, we can reinforce our Estus flask. And that's going to be a big boon for now. And that's why we did that. We really weren't supposed to go to that zone just yet, but we can. And that's another thing, is that Dark Souls does allow you to maneuver through spaces largely unimpeded. There are some things you have to, there are some walls and locks in place, but very few, much fewer than you would expect. And so we're going to use our Firekeeper's Soul to reinforce our Estus Flask. And our Estus Flask, we now have an Estus Flask +1. And so we've seen the graveyard, and we've gone down below Firelink Shrine into inside of a cave, really. And we've seen all around here, we've met that weird archbishop man, or that weird strange priest. And his friends are still not back.
Miracles, I presume? Yes, I know.
Uh-huh.
I'm afraid that may be
He
difficult.
still won't talk to us about
Come again.
all these weird barrels that just explode when we play weird urns. That's satisfying. It's always satisfying to do that. Derby likes making a mess. Making a mess of those pots. So, yeah. Hello. There's Derby. This beautiful rays of light filtering down. So this has been Firelink Shrine. And I'm just gonna take us just a little bit up here. Just so we can see what's up this way. And next week we're going to go investigate up here, but first, there's danger. Look at all these hollows. Come on. Oh, there he goes. Oh. See that mace, it's powerful. It's slow, and a little bit... Oh! Look at that, someone's throwing... It's hard to... Don't want to walk backwards too much. Oh, that one slid off too. What about this one? Maybe we'll just give him a little helping hand. Yeah? Oh, there he goes. Oh, he hit the wall and then he disappeared. He's just throwing fireballs willy-nilly. But there's a thing over here. What's this person's just hanging off this cliff, just barely alive. Or not alive at all, actually. But this guy, he's just throwing these fireballs. He doesn't even give a shit. But you know what? Look at Derby. Derby is a warrior beast. Took all 3 of those out. You know what? Yeah, off you go. At Warren is Dead, Michael Lutz has some great little notes on his Twitter about the way the ragdolls of the bodies in Dark Souls is kind of doing a thing. If not there, it was on... he talked about it similarly. Oh, this tremendous rat in our way. He talked about it on Game Study Buddies, which is one of the best game podcasts. It's kind of a... Lord is on the side. We are inside the aqueduct now. And then if we go up here... What's up here? What could it be? Oh, it's a city. And there's some undead. Nope. There we go, we got him. Almost thought he'd gotten us, but he hadn't. Look at this guy. It's the Undead Burg. That's where we're going to be going next. I'm going to spend some time next week here. But for now, we're going to go back to Firelink Shrine. I just wanted to just give you a little peek as to where we're going. Look at this aqueduct with a rather plague-ridden rat, a giant. He's got like kind of his open wounds and weird bulbous eyes. And then look, we can see there's Firelink down there. There's Derby real close up. But yeah, so we can see Firelink and see how far down it goes. I mean, we went all the way down there on that elevator. And so see, it used to be much taller of a structure, much more enclosed, and now it's all broken apart and eroded and fallen away. And now there's just this kind of this very open space. It used to be a shrine. It used to be kind of like what appears to be a kind of a temple, or some kind of almost like cathedral with the way it was structured. And now there's a giant bird there. Look at that big bird. I love Firelink Shrine. It's not Majula, but it's Firelink Shrine, but it is magical in its own ways. Alright, so what I wanted to do while we were here, before we go, I wanted to level us up a bit. And I think what we want to do really, we want to put some points back into vitality. We'll put a point into vitality, and I think that's good. It'll give us a little bit more, meatiness, so that we can take some damage. Because we wanna have a decent amount of vitality. And actually, you know what we can do? We look at our status. And we have 1 humanity, and we've got 478 souls. How many souls does it take to level up? 758. Because we have some items that give us souls. Nope. Didn't mean to do that. We go to our items. We've got, look at all of these items. The soul of a nameless soldier who has long ago gone hollow. Souls are the source of all life, and whether undead or even hollow, one continues to seek them. We like souls because we can use them to make ourselves better. And so we're going to use... And the nice thing about this, in the original version, you couldn't use them like this, but now we can. We can use all 4 at once. So there, we got a bunch more souls. You know what? Let's level up some more. So 758, 755. So if we get just a few more souls, we could level up again. And I want to put some points. I'm going to put another point or 2, or a couple points into vitality, just so we get a nice cushion of HP. I keep doing that. I've been playing other games where the square button is what opens your menu, not the select button. So we use this large soul. How many souls is that going to give us? Bonus 400. And what about... Let's just go ahead and we'll just eat chomp 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 on his souls. 800. Okay, let's see. What will that give us? It should be able to give us a couple of them. Oh, look at that. We can get 15, and now our health is going to be 682, and it raises our defenses a little bit. That seems good to me. What about you? You know, we could put points into dexterity if we wanted to, and that would be able to. We could put 2 points into that, and then we could use that S-talk. But I like our mace for now, friends. So we're going to put those points, and we're going to be level 9. Derby is level 9 with 682 points. There we go. And so we're going to rest at this bonfire with this chap over here, this shirtless silver fox. Oh, and this other silver fox. Oh, yeah. And so that's us. And so until next time, friends, Derby's gonna say goodbye. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you again next week when we go and explore the Undead Burg and make our way to the Undead Chapel so that we can ring one of the first bells of awakening. Until then, take care, and don't go hollow.